Bueno, ok, otra vez. Buenos días. You know, it's an honor. Every time that I come here, it's an honor for me that I never take for granted. It's a joy to be here. Now, do me a favor, please. Could you please repeat after me? Today's message is for me.
Today's message is for me.
Not for my neighbor. For me. Not for my spouse or my mother-in-law. For me. Today's message is for me. Amen. Stop repeating. I'm going to preach. You can stop now. How many of you have visited the Vincent van Gogh exhibit already? How many of you? It is amazing. It is incredible. It's a exhibition of Vincent van Gogh gallery. You can immerse in his art. You can learn about his life. It's incredible. Now, I have never been there, but that's what the website says. Which I believe, no? You know? Now, Vincent van Gogh was from Netherlands, but he was a minister, a preacher for a short time in London. And he used to begin his sermons saying, "Church, you are about to hear bad English." Today, I'm going to quote Mr. Van Gogh and say, "Bamel, you're about to hear bad English. Please bear with me." Now, speaking of Van Gogh, I have a left ear right here. Oh, okay. I thought you will never get it because you haven't gone to the exhibition. So I have a left ear here. That was my joke for nerds, actually. My joke for nerds. Did you know that the ear has the smallest bones in the body? You know, the ear is amazing. It's amazing. It can work. It works, actually, even when you're sleeping or you are unconscious. The ear of a mother becomes more acute, more precise after they give birth. You know, the ear is amazing, even though sometimes it grows some kind of hair. Have you seen? That hair is very noisy. You know, it sticks out to see who's talking. Little ear over here, but still, the ear is an amazing sense. And despite of its awesomeness, its perfection, the ear is one of those senses less used. It's not used appropriately. You know, what's the purpose of the ear? To hear. You know, it's like little Red Hood said, "But grandmother, what big ears you have." And the wolf replied, "To better hear you with, my dear." Sadly, we don't know how to listen. We don't know. We don't know how to listen. We have a chronic listening problem. We don't know how to listen to others. We don't know how to listen to God. We have a chronic disease. Now, listening is a constant theme in the Bible. You remember the first and most important commandment given to Israel starts with the word listen. Shema Israel, listen. The first thing that you have to learn as a kid, as a Jewish kid, was the Shema. Listen. The theme or the theology of listening is since the Old Testament. The whole Old Testament speaks about a God that listens. A God that listens to the widow. A God that listens to the orphans. A God that listens to his people. Then in the New Testament, we find Jesus being baptized, and then a voice from heaven saying, "Listen to my son. This is my son who I love." Listen. Jesus took that idea, that theology of listening, and then he says, "My sheep listen to my voice." Paul will say, maybe quoting the Shema, maybe making reference to that, he says, before faith comes listening. Because listening is very important. But we don't know how to do it. And we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to listen to God. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on not listening to God or listening to God, because I want to emphasize another topic. But we don't listen to God. And I discovered this. long time ago, I took a sabbatical and I went to different churches. I wanted to see how the church looks from the other side of the pulpit. You know, it's one thing to see the church from here to be on the other side. So I went to different churches, and I went to one when the preacher was, I believe in Jesus, and he was very excited. And at some point he says, I have listened, and God had talked to, because that's how preachers we talk. In my mind, at least. I have listened, and God has spoken to me 16 times. That's what he said. 16 times. And I thought, that's sad. Because last time I checked in the Bible, God speaks to us all the time. He speaks to us thousands of times. The problem is that it's not that he talks to us. The problem is that we don't listen. And that's the issue. You know, sometimes we make the mistake of limit the time that God can speak to us. We say, well, he's going to talk to me on the sermon. He's going to say something to me during the worship service. Well, that's cool. That's okay. But then you are limiting God to 52 times, to talk to you 52 times a year. The problem is that you don't come to church every week. Yes, you know you don't come to church every week. So that limits probably to half the way. So now God can talk to you 26 times. That's not the problem. The problem is that God creates all these beautiful, shiny days perfect to golf. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, perfect to go outside. Perfect to go shopping. Beautiful day. So that limits from 26 probably to 16 times that God will talk to you. That's not the problem. The problem is that also there are rainy days. Those days that you want to stay home and Netflix is saying, come to me, my son. Come to me, stay here. And you obey the voice of Netflix. That limits probably to 5 times that God will talk to you, because you limit God to speak only in these 4 walls. But those 5 times, you come with an attitude, probably. You come looking to the mistakes that, you know, oh, he didn't change this, whatever, or the sound system, or the music is too loud, or this is too dark, or is this, or this, that. That limits how God is going to talk to you to one time. And that one time is when Alejandro preached. We have a problem of not listening to God. But we have another problem. We don't know how to listen to others. We don't know how to listen to others. And now let me tell you this. Nothing hurts more than the sense that the people you care about are not listening. Nothing hurts more. Have you been there? Talking to your son, to your daughter, saying, hey, this is my advice to you. And they will say, I don't care. Oh, straight to the heart. Nothing hurts more than a spouse that doesn't listen to your needs. Oh, no, amen? Okay, that's all right. No, amen. But nothing hurts more than that. Nothing hurts more than that you are sharing a story with a coworker that couldn't care less for your story, interrupts you with some silly story that has nothing to do with your feelings. Nothing hurts more than not being heard. Because there is a profound need to be listened to. When we are not heard, we feel undervalued. We think nobody takes us seriously. And that whatever we say, nobody cares. Listening is very important. And as Christians, we are called to listen to others. Now, why we don't listen? Well, we don't listen because we have to do a very huge thing. We have to do a sacrifice. This is what we need to do. We have to follow the first and most important and fundamental principle from Christianity. And it comes from Matthew chapter 16, verse 24. You remember these words. He says, si alguno quiere ser mi discípulo, niéguese a sí mismo, tome su cruz y sígame. It's the most simple, fundamental rule of Christianity. If you want to be follower of Jesus, you have to deny yourself. We don't listen well because we think only about us. We are eager to share our story. Pay attention to me. I am the most important thing. Now, there is an extraordinary example of listening in Luke chapter 10. You know, when Jesus came to visit Martha and Maria, Mary, maybe. Martha and Maria, he came to visit, and Martha was busy trying to prepare food and make everything right and to impress Jesus with food. And while doing that, he interrupts Jesus. He was talking to Maria. He interrupts Jesus, and she asked, "Tell my sister to come help me." She not only interrupts Jesus, she gives him orders, and she wants to steal, a disciple from Jesus. And you know what Jesus responded? You remember, of course. He said, "Hay una sola cosa." There's only one thing that is worth. And it's this that she has discovered. You know what she discovered? Maria discovered the art of listening. The importance of listening. We impress Christ not with the things that we do. We impress Christ when we are able and eager to listen. We don't listen because sometimes we just react. We judge people. We see someone, we judge, and then we stop and we don't want to listen anymore. I don't want to listen to you because I already judge you by the way you look. You're different than I. I don't care whatever is your story, whatever you do, whatever you have, I don't care because I don't know you and I don't want to know you. I stop listening. Last week, some of you know that I'm getting a certification as a chaplain in the hospital. And the reason I decided to do that and pursue that is because I wanted to be a better pastor for this congregation. And I have discovered so many things. So last week, I went and wanted to visit a patient, but I didn't check his file before going. So I didn't know what I was going to find. When I get to the room, outside there are two cops. Usually, there's a cop when there's an inmate. When the inmate is in the hospital, there's a cop outside. There was two. So I was like, oh, okay. I hope it's not the chaplain. Right? The chaplain? Okay. Sure. So I asked the policeman, I said, what's going on with this patient? And they say, well, this man needs to speak to you. Both of the cops were Hispanic, were from Chihuahua and Monterrey, from Mexico. This man needs to talk to you. He has an evil, demonic spirit. When you enter, keep your distance. He's handcuffed to his bed, but you never know. And I was, thank you, officer. I appreciate your generosity in description. Cop number 2 said, "Andele, entre. Go, you're fine." Cop 1 then whispers in my ear. He says, "It seems like he killed someone." Okay, guys, thank you. So I go inside, and I enter the room. The patient was sleeping. He was indeed handcuffed to the bed. He was wearing his orange suit. His beard was full and black. And I said, "Good afternoon. My name is Alejandro Ezquerra, and I'm the chaplain, and I'm visiting here." He opened his eyes, and for some reason, he accepted my presence there. He adjusted his position, he sat, and gave me all his attention. I thought, this is going pretty good so far. I asked him, "How are you doing?" And he said, literally, I'm quoting, "I am totally done. I don't care if I live or die. In fact, I want to die." I noticed an accent. And I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "I'm from Romania. And I said, "Why are you here?" Meaning in the hospital. And he said, "I had an accident. The police was chasing me, and I crashed, and I broke my leg." "Why they were chasing you?" I asked while pacing some saliva, He said, and start crying. He says, "Because," and he starts crying. But when I tell you crying, I'm not being faithful to the word, to the description. He was pouring, he was crying. And he says, I have not told this to anybody because they don't deserve the truth. I'm not going to tell to anybody, but I'm going to tell you. I killed my parents. I had no option. People were threatening us because they didn't know our language. They just call us gypsies. They consider us terrorists because the way we look, but they didn't take the time to know us. They say they will rape my mother and kill my father, and I didn't want them to suffer that shameful death. I wanted to protect my parents. They did not take the time to listen to us. They did not care. They did not understand and thought that we were a threat. I saved my parents. Now, I'm not going to discuss if this was the right thing to do. I'm not going to discuss what is the legal thing here or whatever. Because the phrase that stuck in my mind was, they don't want to listen to us. They didn't listen to us. They judge us by the way we look. Because it requires cultural humility to listen to others that are different than I. It requires cultural humility to listen to others. Cultural arrogance says, I do not have time to learn from you. I don't have time. You have to adapt to me. Speak my language. Adapt to me. I don't want to learn. This is what cultural arrogance says. On the other hand, cultural humility says, hey, please, teach me about that. I want to learn more about you. I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know how to do this. That is cultural humility. And we are called to be humble. And we are called to receive and live by cultural humility. You know, in John chapter 4, and I'm almost concluding. In John chapter 4, we have an extraordinary example of cultural humility. We have this woman at the well, you know, Samaritan woman. She's getting water, and then Jesus comes to her, and the woman at the well thought that Jesus was offering physical water. You remember? She didn't see the Messiah. She saw a male, a Jewish male, and a rabbi. But she didn't see the Messiah. Jesus, on the other side, she saw a woman in a need of a spiritual water. He approached her with cultural humility. And he wanted to hear and offer forgiveness and grace. Jesus heard more than what the woman said. Jesus heard what the woman was not saying, even though she was Samaritan. That is cultural humility. Now, how can we correct that issue that we have of not being able to listen? Well, we can transform our relationships when we control those emotional triggers. When we are aware of ourselves, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. The essence of listening resides in empathy and not in sympathy. The difference is very, very, very simple. Sympathy is when someone says, I hate traffic, you go, amen, me too, because you've been there. But when someone says, you know, I'm in pain because I lost my pet, many people says, what? It was just a dog. Well, to you, it was a dog, a cat. To me, it was my son. It was very important. You probably don't feel any sympathy because you haven't been there. But what Jesus requires from us is empathy. You know, I have never had a pet, but I feel your pain. You know what I'm saying? So this week, I want to encourage you to be aware of your listening skills. Before speaking or interrupting or, you know, saying something, to think, what I'm about to say, is it true? What I'm about to say is necessary? If the response to those questions are, no, it's not even important, it's not necessary, then just be quiet. You know why? Because James says, it's better to be a listener. You know, he gave us one thumb, 2 ears. Second, I want to encourage you to get one of these ears, you know, on Amazon, probably $7. Amazon. And use it with your family. Practice listening skill. If you have the ear, nobody else has the right to speak. I have the ear. So something happened between your spouse and you. Okay, bring the ear. Okay, what I feel is this and that and this and that. You did this and did that and that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now I get the ear. The other person said, okay, well, but you did this and that and this and that, and I feel this way. You make me feel this way. Okay, give me the ear. No, and the person is quiet. It works. It works. 22 years of marriage. Yeah. And she laughs because it's true. It works. It works. So, be a good listener. Be a witness. Because a good listener is a witness, not a judge. When the woman was about to be stoned, Jesus said, you can go. I don't even judge you. You can go, sin no more. If I want something from this sermon, is to encourage you to be aware of your listening skills, to make an effort to die to yourself and allow others to grow. Concentrate on what the other person is trying to say and concentrate on what God is trying to tell you. I invite you to control your emotional triggers and that anxiety that impedes to listen to others. We are called to be witness of Christ. Amen?